wins, 21, first in the American League. Earned run average, just 2, first in the American League. Complete games, tied for first. Shutouts, 3, tied for first. Innings pitched, 247. And Ks, 273, second. 40-39 record over his last 4 years. Again, how were the Red Sox to know?
How were they to know? Dan Duquette still catches all kinds of heat from Red Sox faithful. We know this. Clemens is not allowed an earned run against the Orioles in 14 innings of work in 2 outings this year. Magic number still 3. The lead down to 3 over the Yankees in the American League East. We'll get to the starting lineups. Though the first pitch is Roger Clemens and Nerio Rodriguez get set to go next on the Orioles television network.
WNUV's coverage of Orioles baseball is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go places and do things you never thought possible. By Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages, where people go to buy, find, or do just about anything. By Giant Food, quality, value, and service. That's Giant, your place to save. By your Baltimore area Nissan store. Nissan, life is a journey, enjoy the ride. By Heckinger, with the Project Rewards program, the more you buy, the more you'll save. By Hoover, nobody gets the dirt like Hoover, nobody. And by your local Oldsmobile retailers.
Back inside Skydome in downtown Toronto, David Johnson and the O's. They have not had a real strong month of September. Let's see how Navy lines it up on the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Maryland hitting side. Freddie Anderson will lead off tonight and play center field. Robbie Alomar hits second at second base. Rafael Palmeiro at first base. The DH is Harold Baines. B.J. Surhoff will hit fifth and play left field. The run of left-handed hitters finally ended by Cal Ripken at third base, hitting sixth. Geronimo Baroa will play right field and hit seventh. Chris Hoyles will do the catching tonight. Mike Bordick will play shortstop and hit ninth. And making his second start for the Orioles this year, the young right-hander Nerio Rodriguez.
Oh, just 24 years of age, young Nerio make his second career start here at the Skydome. Won his first major league game, his last start against or last Saturday against the Tigers in relief of Rick Krivda. First major league start again here at the Skydome against Pat Henkin. He won his only start, or lost his only start last year, that 4-2 versus Cleveland. 6 2/3 innings, 3 innings pitched, and an earned run. 1-1 on the year, 5.06. Converted catcher doing a fine job.
Let's take a look at how the beleaguered Cito Gaston will line him up. Will it be Cito Gaston's last week of baseball here at the Dome, managing the Blue Jays? We'll talk about that. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Maryland hitting lineup. Shannon Stewart leading off at center field. Alex Gonzalez will play shortstop and hit second. It's going to be Jose Cruz Jr. in left field. Joe Carter will DH tonight and hit cleanup. Carlos Delgado at first base, hitting fifth. Juan Samuel will play third base and hit sixth. Sean Green will do the work at right field. Charlie O'Brien will hit eighth and do the catching. And Tomas Perez will play second base and hit ninth. And on the mound tonight for the Toronto Blue Jays, one of the familiar power right-handers in the history of Major League Baseball, Mike, 2-time Cy Young Award winner Roger Clemens.
Well, in quest of another one, leads the major leagues with 21 wins, second in the major league with a 2.00 ERA since the All-Star break. 8-3 with a 2.39. 14-8 lifetime versus the Orioles. 1-0 this season without allowing a earned run. 21-6 overall. 2-point ERA, and looking for a franchise record number 22 tonight.
Roger Clemens been very stingy by the looks of those numbers, not only against the Birds but also against the entire American League and all the Major League Baseball, given his intra-league starts this year. Tonight's Giant HTS Orioles $1 Million Magic contestant is Michelle Pitt. Michelle has automatically won a Panasonic 27-inch stereo TV. And Michelle, if an Orioles player hits for the cycle, you're going to win $1 million. Turn your field of dreams into a field of green by playing Giant HTS Orioles $1 Million Magic. And see your local Giant for details. Michelle Pitt, we wish you best of luck tonight. 6 games left in the regular season for both the Jays and the Orioles. Mike Cito Gaston's ball club, as he sits with Nick Leyva, his third base coach. They're 22 games under. They're 22 games down. They're bottom, dead last in the American League East. And the prevailing feeling around here in this city today seems to be that Cito Gaston will be managing his last week of baseball after a long and successful run for the Jays.
Well, reading the quotes in the local paper today, said Cito said, "Let me know by Sunday because I'm going to be unavailable after that." So we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. And of course, different factions siding up one side and the other for Cito Gaston.
There you see some of the signage that adorns the Dome tonight here in downtown Toronto. On the other hand, the guys you're looking at, the Orioles, they have only won 9 times in 23 baseball games in September, and they've seen this lead shrink. It was 9.5 games. It entered September 6.5 games. And now, Mike, ironically, as I said in the open of our show, we could talk magic number at 3, but the lead in the American League East is also down to 3. The Orioles need to win 3 baseball games themselves here in the final 6. Certainly build that cushion up to get this division wrapped up. And just early report from across the lake in Cleveland, the New York Yankees are already off 3-0 against the Indians. Well, the Yankees are certainly making a statement late in the season.
I think Davey Johnson had a closed-door meeting today, and I think that's exactly what he told the troops, is saying, we can't count on the Yankees to give us any help in this magic number. We have to go out and start winning some ball games for ourselves for right now, and also to build some momentum going into postseason. So Davey giving the troops, I guess, a little State of the Union address today.
Yeah, he has, and it's the very first time this year that meeting has been held with the ball club, and we'll see what it brings through Toronto and Milwaukee. And ironically, as you brought up last night, these are 2 of the ball clubs that aren't going to be in postseason play that have given Davey and the Orioles the toughest time this year in the American League.
Yeah, 2 of the 3 teams that the Orioles have losing records against will play on this trip, the Toronto Blue Jays and the Milwaukee Brewers. But certainly the Blue Jays have had a tough go of it of late. They've lost 8 out of 10, and on the last road trip, 8 of those losses coming in the opponent's last at bat. So a very agonizing way to go about a 2-10 or 2-8 streak.
And the Rocket Man, Roger Clemens. Mike, how much, though, a ball club, we talk about the O's, are struggling right now, trying to pull it back together in the final week. What a psychological lift it might be if they could turn fortune around and precedent this year against Clemens and go get him tonight and get a win against his tough right-hander.
I think they're sort of grasping at straws for any possible positiveness they can pull out of any game at the moment. Clearly, Davey Johnson very upset with the troops yesterday. One of the hardest losses, certainly, of the season. And he was debating actually whether to give that team meeting or not, saying, you know, this team is going to postseason. That it seems a little bit strange that I would have to have a team meeting, but I think he felt he had to address the situation.
He's loaded with left-handed hitting prowess at the top of his lineup tonight, as we mentioned a moment ago. First 5 Oriole hitters will take their swings from the left side against Roger Clemens. Orioles just 4-5 against the Jays this year. They did beat the Blue Jays twice in the 3-game series. And Brady Anderson was one of the big keys and catalyst in the month of June. We'll see if some of that magic wears off and returns here in this final series between the 2 teams this year. Umpiring crew tonight, veteran Bucks Chuck Merriweather will do the work behind home plate. Jim Evans at first base, Larry McCoy, Terry Kraft at second and third base respectively. Down to 6 games left in this 97 baseball season for the Birds. Do they get it turned around starting here tonight in their final road swing of the year? That's what you're here to find out. So settle back and enjoy with us. As always, a magnificent evening for Orioles baseball as Brady Anderson steps in against Roger Clemens, seeking his 22nd win of the year. When you talk about ERAs, Clemens, how long has it been since somebody finished a season with these kind of innings work, Mike, with an ERA of under 2?
Pretty impressive stuff. I think it goes back to Ron Guidry and a couple other notable pitchers that finish a complete season with an ERA under 2. Ron Guidry of the Yankees in that marvelous season in '78 when he went 25-3 at a 1.74.
1-1 from Clemens, misses down 2-1.
And Clemens' ERA in 1990, 1.93. The only American League starters to have a sub ERA since the designated hitter started 25 years ago.
That's truly amazing. Anderson with a hot shot, base hit left field. Roger worked the outside corner, and Brady Anderson went out and got it and drilled it by Juan Samuel. So Brady is aboard. Brady Anderson has swung the bat pretty well. 290 hitter in his career against Roger Clemens.
He sprays the ball around, and certainly it's a fork ball from Clemens that stays up. Brady doesn't try to pull it, just goes right with it. You want to take advantage of this AstroTurf surface.
here's Roberto Alomar. Robbie just received the greeting from his former home folks here at Skydome. Of course, Alomar just brilliant in the 5 years that he played here in Toronto. Robbie got that average up to .322 on the year. Clemens working out of the stretch. Alomar will bunt toward third. Samuel, long throw, not in time. Bunt, base hit. Roberto Alomar beat it with a head-first slide. He caught Juan Samuel a little bit deeper behind that bag than maybe Alomar expected to see, and made Samuel try to throw him out. Nice bunt, Alomar, for the base hit.
Well, and Samuel, not the usual third baseman. Ed Sprague is out for the season with a shoulder injury, and they've tried a couple others over there. So Samuel, who hadn't started a game in over 35 games at third base, very close play. See John Stearns help with the call. And the thing with AstroTurf is you actually want to bunt it, that sort of chopping bunt that you saw Alomar put into play. Of course, Robbie very familiar with this surface.
Here's Rafael Palmeiro. Rafael crashed his 37th home run of the year last night. Has the RBI count up to 106. Top 10 in the American League.
He too has pretty good numbers against Clemens. 306 in his career. 3 home runs against Roger. Struck out 14 times.
Clemens ahead of Palmeiro at 0-2.
Of course, the Orioles clinched that wild card berth up here in Toronto at the end of last season, second to last day of the season. The game Mike Mussina started. Randy Myers got the win in relief.
1-2 on Rafael Palmeiro. Mike and I were kind of kidding a little bit before the game. We took a look at Rogers' strikeout total for the year at 273. He's going to get a couple more starts tonight, and his finale probably on Saturday or Sunday. 27 strikeouts in 2 games to hit the 300 mark.
Well, he's certainly, I think he's been 81 times, has had over 10 strikeouts in a game.
Ground ball toward first. Delgado took a look. Everybody's going to move up one. He'll go to the bag ahead of Rafael Palmeiro. So Palmeiro hitting the bouncing ball to the right side moves Anderson Alomar into third and second base respectively. Couple in scoring position for Harold Baines. All right, Mike, what about our 4 keys to the game tonight? Obviously, the Birds against Roger Clemens.
Well, for the Orioles, that's certainly to stay close to Roger Clemens and get back to the old formula. That is outstanding pitching, outstanding starting pitching, and outstanding work out of the bullpen. And for the Blue Jays to score some runs for Roger Clemens and win one for the Rocket. That's been tough to come by, looking for a franchise record and help him, I guess, accumulate a few more Cy Young votes.
2 in scoring position for Harold Baines. Clemens' fastball missed the inside corner.
So far in this inning, Roger rather reluctant to throw that fastball for a strike. He's shown it inside. Really nothing but forkballs to Palmeiro. Sort of against the grain pitching so far by Roger.
Got Baines to expand the strike zone. Mike, that forkball this year seems to have become a real deadly weapon for Clemens.
Yeah, that's the big pitch. Roger had a forkball that was just sort of an off-speed pitch in his years in Boston, and has really refined it this year, where it's a pitch that he can throw over the plate.
1-2 to Baines. Line drive, right field, base hit. Going to get down in front of Sean Green. Anderson will score. Alomar got the stop sign as Harold Baines delivers a 1-out base hit. Orioles on the board against Roger Clemens. Brady Anderson touching the plate as Harold Baines, down in the count, drilled a base hit to right. 1-0 Birds.
Well, you want to jump on a quality pitcher early. So it's like a fastball on the inside part of the plate. But Harold right on it, pulls those hands in, and just hits a nice line drive into right. Alomar got a great jump off of second base, but I think with 1 out, Sam Palazzo decides to hold Robbie. So putting the heat on Roger early.
Here's that 5th left-handed hitter that we talked about, B.J. Surhoff, moved back by the Clemens fastball.
B.J. too has pretty good career numbers against Clemens. .319 average. He has the most home runs of any Oriole against Roger Clemens, 4.
Runners at the corners as Surhoff rips a base hit up the middle. 2-0 Birds. Robbie Alomar will score. Baseball got away from young Shannon Stewart. It'll allow Harold Baines to move to third. So Surhoff jumping on Clemens. Just a moment ago, we talked about maybe a psychological lift, chance to gear in and get one of baseball's best. Orioles starting strong.
No, we also talk about how Davey Johnson builds a lineup, and this is one that is stacked with left-handers at the top. And this is the lineup that he wants to put pressure on the starting pitcher early. So 5 left-handers at the top of this lineup, 4 coming through against Clemens. This is the lineup again to put heat on a pitcher early and worry about the matchups with the bullpen later.
Here's Cal Ripken now to face Roger Clemens. 2-0 Birds. RBI singles from Harold Baines and B.J. Surhoff have established a lead here in the first.
This is one less hit than Roger Clemens gave up in his last start in Old Fenway Park. 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, and a no decision.
2-0 as Cal pulled the bat back. Cal at .274 on the year. Ripken has a base hit in each of his last 2 games, so that's a positive sign for Cal as he's trying to emerge from a bit of a slide. Just 13 for 85 in the last 24 baseball games. Hard strike on the Clemens fastball. We told you, we'll keep an eye on what's going on in Jacobs Field tonight. New York had jumped out to a quick 3-0 lead. However, Sandy Alomar unloaded his 19th home run of the year with a man aboard. So 3-2 Yankees on top of the Indians in Jacobs Field.
Well, those 2 clubs have been known to go at it at Jacobs Field. So look for a wild and high-scoring affair, I guess, in that one.
That's why the Yankees will feel comfortable, Mike. They've played 16 baseball games in there since its inception. The Yanks have won 13 of them. Ripken swings and misses the forkball thrown by Cal.
Now, Cal in 85 at-bats has 1 home run against Roger Clemens, and it's a pretty memorable one. Back to start the '89 season on opening day. Late in that ball game, Cal hit a homer to right center, and that home run and that win opening day was really the focal point of that '89 season.
Went right back to the forkball. Roger Clemens rings up Cal Ripken. His first strikeout of the night. It's a big one for Clemens. Already down 2-0. Harold Baines 90 feet away, but now with 2 out, he'll get Geronimo Baroa.
That's been his go-to pitch so far early, that forkball. Again, somewhat reluctant to throw that fastball early in this game. Sometimes the pitcher will feel that they're sitting on that fastball, so I'll sort of counter pitch. Establish my forkball early, go to the fastball later.
Geronimo Baroa hitting 7th tonight. As you see Charlie O'Brien have to go down to keep that forkball in front of him. It's a 22nd pitch of the first inning already for Roger Clemens.
Now just remember back to last year with the Red Sox, he'd throw 150, 160 a start. So I think Cito has legislated that a little bit closer.
Went right back in under the hands of Geronimo Baroa. 10 home runs as a member of the Birds for Geronimo. Was driven in 48. Came to the ball club in late June. There you see that Honda pitch count update on the Rocket Man, as he's known around baseball. Baroa laid off 2-1.
And if it's been a fastball, it's been out of the strike zone.
On Geronimo Baroa. Baines at third, B.J. Surhoff at first. Davey Johnson top heavy with left-handed hitting. 4 of the 5 left-handed hitters with base hits off Clemens. He got Palmeiro and he struck out Ripken. 5 pitches. Geronimo Baroa draws a walk to load the bases. So Roger Clemens laboring here in the first inning, as he now has to face Chris Hoyles with the bases loaded with Birds and 2 out. Orioles already on top 2-0.
Again, I do not understand the reluctance for Clemens to throw a fastball. It's a 3-1 forkball. A pitch, again, on a good day, maybe you get over 50% of the time. And Clemens certainly still has one of the better fastballs in the game. Actually pitching very defensively so far here in the first.
Chris Hoyles hoping to break it open a little bit further here. Now Clemens there starts Hoyles out with the trademark, the fastball.
And Clemens having an outstanding year at home here at the Sky Dome. 10-3 with a 1.37 ERA. So already the Orioles have more runs than he usually allots in 9 innings. Never mind in 2/3 of an inning. So far this September has been his worst month.
See how that pitch, that forkball, Mike, rides down and in, and it'll cut in on the hands of the right-handed hitter.
And for a strike, which is pretty impressive. We talk about the forkball a lot. Very few pitchers able to throw a forkball for a strike. It's usually a pitch you want the hitter to chase.
0-2 to Hoyles. Got him swinging. Went right back to the forkball to ring up Chris Hoyles. So Roger Clemens gives up 4 base hits and a walk. Orioles dent him for 2, but he gets big strikeouts of Ripken and Hoyles to end the first. 2-0 Birds when we come back. Sky Dome, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Roof closed on this night as we come at you on the Orioles television network. Very fallish day up here today. Temperature probably in the mid-50s. Didn't stop my partner from getting out in the boat and casting that line this morning.
I thought it was, I guess it's all relative to what you're used to. New Hampshire, that was a fine summer day.
The 4th of July.
That's right. The 2 seasons, July 4th and winter.
The Blue Jays lost 3 in a row in Yankee Stadium to end their 2-8 road trip. Shannon Stewart, young man that they hope is part of the future, with a blast to center field. Brady Anderson will reach down and pull it in. Now Stewart hit it right on the money directly at Brady Anderson. So Shannon Stewart retired by Nerio Rodriguez. Mike, Nerio had a pretty strong start against the Cleveland Indians in one of those day-night doubleheaders as he makes his 2nd major league start this year.
He really has pitched well, even his major league career. He's just making his 3rd start. He pitched the last game of the season for Davey Johnson after the Orioles clinched that wild card berth and lost to Pat Henkin. Pitched real well, and also against a real fine hitting club, and that Cleveland Indians did a nice job. 6 2/3, just allowed 3 runs, struck out 6.
Now he's facing one of the real good-looking young shortstops in Major League Baseball. I've talked a lot about Alex Gonzalez. He recently came off the disabled list and a fractured right index finger. Troy Hawkins hit him with a pitch in a contest against the Minnesota Twins back in the month of August. He's been struggling since he's come back. Tapped in front of the plate, right back toward the mound. Nerio Rodriguez, well, almost handcuffed Rafael Palmeiro with that quick snap throw from about 30 feet away.
They played it maybe a little bit too casually on the mound. The ball sort of rolled around in the glove. Actually had to hurry his throw on the end. The Orioles not allowed to take early hitting today. They had to actually rebuild the pitcher's mound and the home plate area. Pretty amazing to watch them do that early this afternoon. Tamp it all down, get it ready to go.
I know you've heard this young man's name. He is one of the shining bright lights of Major League Baseball. Jose Cruz Jr. was his father. Strong left-handed hitter for the Houston Astros back in the senior Cruz's heyday. Jose came over from the Seattle Mariners and has hit 25 home runs this year and is a legitimate power bat.
Well, he's the 2nd player in Toronto Blue Jay history to homer from both sides of the plate. The other, Roberto Alomar.
And fastball on the outside corner from Nerio Rodriguez to hit ahead of Cruz at 1-2.
It's like Nerio has picked up his pace, working a little bit more quickly between pitches. And also the cadence of that delivery much quicker than we saw last time out. May partly be due to be pitching against Roger Clemens. Sometimes that'll raise your adrenaline level.
And this is grip it and rip it for Nerio right now.
I like that.
Just rocking and firing the baseball.
Rock, shoot, fire.
Ground ball rolled toward Roberto Alomar. Robbie will toss out Jose Cruz Jr. That'll do it. Nerio Rodriguez has a 2-0 lead, and we get back to Sky Dome on the O's TV network. The O's got 2 off for Roger Clemens in the top of the first by putting together 4 base hits. RBI singles from Harold Baines and B.J. Surhoff. Here's Mike Bordick to lead it off in the second against Clemens. 2-0 on Bordick. Mike's a .233 hitter. Got that home run total up to 7.
He's hit safely in 8 of his last 9 with .320 average over that time with a couple of home runs. Swing the bat though obviously much better. Heading into his first postseason experience.
2-1 to Bordick. Hit sharply and fair in between Samuel and the bag. Kicking down in the corner and left. Fan reaches out to touch the baseball. 2 bases for Mike Bordick. 5th Orioles base hit of the 9 that have faced Roger Clemens. First extra base hit for the Birds.
It just seems that Roger hasn't gotten into the flow of the game as of yet. We've seen him in the past sort of very animated on the mound, and certainly when things are going well, clapping his hands and sort of stomping around the mound. But so far we haven't seen that with him being on a defensive through 1 complete inning so far. Situation here where Brady wants to pull the ball.
Called strike to Brady Anderson. He started things out by lining a base hit by Juan Samuel. He'll get things rolling here against Roger Clemens in what would turn out to be that 2-run Orioles first inning. Bordick aboard with a leadoff double, and Anderson's in a hole at 0-2.
And certainly Roger Clemens and Charlie O'Brien behind the plate aware of that, so look for them to stay away unless they're going for a strikeout.
Missed off the outside corner. 1-2 on Brady.
Well, Charlie O'Brien considered the best in the business behind home plate at framing. That is receiving the ball, making it look like a strike, or pinning it on very strong hand, which is the key to being able to hold those 95-mile-an-hour fastballs towards that corner. You just watch how he sort of pinches the ball. He tries to make everything look like a strike. Gives one of the best targets in the game. Of course, he started that modern catcher's mask, I guess, craze.
Swing and a miss. Got Brady on that fork ball. 3rd strikeout for Roger Clemens. Mike, all 3 of them have come on the fork ball.
Well, he's thrown enough of them. I mean, that's his certainly go-to pitch. Either Roger doesn't feel very good about his fastball so far in this game, or he's going really to plan B, but he does have a very good fork ball. Good downward action.
Robbie Alomar fouling Clemens' first pitch off. Roberto had a bunt base hit that he beat with a head-first slide, beating the throw of Juan Samuel in the first. Robbie scored one of the 2 Oriole runs off Roger Clemens. That is how impressive that Alomar has been as Clemens backed him off, and that gets a positive response from the crowd here at the Dome. I guess, Mike, they do not forgive and forget up here with regard to Roberto, who they adored when he was here. He was the shining jewel of this organization.
He certainly had some tremendous seasons.
Clemens overpowered him with a fastball there. Mike, there's that Rocket Clemens heater that he turned loose for the first time.
He's starting to feel a little bit better about it.
Two to Roberto Alomar. Look out. Oh, Robbie went down with a quick glance out at Roger Clemens.
Oh, that one's a no-no. You can see Davey Johnson not liking this at all. He's letting Chuck Merriweather know about it. This is 3 straight fastballs in the same area. And I think a lot of this is to do about the bunt in the first inning, maybe. And Clemens is giving Davey Johnson a little stare, too. Roger Clemens is not adverse to coming inside. He's hit 11 batters, and I'll guarantee you the majority are left-handed hitters. This is right at the helmet.
All about the bunt, Mike?
I think it possibly has something to do with it.
Roberto back in, awaits the 2-2 pitch. drive down the line in deep right. Green chasing. That ball's up against the wall. Bordick's being waved in. Roberto Alomar picking himself up, dusting himself off, and then drilling a 2-run double to the corner and right against Roger Clemens. 3-0 Orioles.
Well, there's just certain hitters to me that you don't wake up, and certainly Alomar's been in a great groove, rising to the occasion. Certain hitters you can intimidate by knocking them down. Some dust themselves off and get back up and become more determined. And look at this swing from Robbie. Pull those hands in and guides that double down the right field corner.
Rafael Palmeiro with a line drive on one hop that's flagged down by Tomas Perez. He'll throw Palmeiro out. Alomar moves up to third. 2 down now in the top of the Birds' second. It's Palmeiro making a bid for a base hit that Tomas Perez flagged down.
Oriole left-handed hitters getting big swings against Clemens, and I think he's taking exception to it.
Harold Baines will foul the forkball off. Harold had an RBI base hit his first time. Like Roberto Alomar, Harold Baines, one of the most productive of Oriole hitters in this month of September, as we said, that have the Orioles coming off a 5-9 homestand and just 9-14 for the entire month. Like, the runs aren't really down that much. They're about just a little bit less than the Orioles average per night on a year, but they've been held to 3 runs or less 10 times in September.
And that's the thing. I mean, that average will change if you have 1 or 2 big ball games, which the Orioles have had. That one 11-run game and a couple of others. That's why run support at times can be misleading, because you get one game where you get 15 runs and 2 others with zeros, and it's, well, I'm getting 5 runs a game. It doesn't quite work like that. It's sort of an average, not always a true indication of what's going on.
Ground ball on a big hop to Tomas Perez. Going to throw Harold Baines out. That'll do it. But Roberto Alomar, after being knocked down by a couple of Roger Clemens pitches, responds with a bullet double to the corner and right. 3-0 Orioles. Orioles have put some numbers on the board early against Roger Clemens' lead at 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the second. Hope you're enjoying tonight here out of Sky Dome as Joe Carter, who set another milestone last night with an RBI base hit off David Wells, as he continues to go above the 100 RBI plateau, Mike, in back-to-back seasons that just keep accumulating.
He now has 10 100 RBI seasons. After that RBI, he had to leave the game with a slightly strained left hamstring.
Carter with a fly ball, short left center field. Bordick out, Anderson in. Brady, did he make a sliding catch? Yes, he did. Brady Anderson went down to the right knee. Showed second base umpire Larry McCoy the baseball as Anderson makes the outstanding catch to rob Joe Carter.
Well, anytime you decide to dive on this surface, certainly it's an unforgiving surface. Watch it usually slide on normal grass fields. Here, you just sort of catch and hold. And take a look at that pant leg of Brady Anderson, already split open. You pay the price for diving on this surface. We certainly saw B.J. Surhoff dive here early in the year and had a like a carpet burn for about 2 weeks.
No a good seamstress, Mike?
Nope.
Brady's going to need one.
I guess we could send him over to Haas Tailoring. Probably help him out.
No question about that. There's Carlos Delgado. Delgado with a bullet to right, base hit. Going to get down in the corner up against that wall. Delgado thinking double. And he'll coast in with a stand-up 2-base hit. Second ball hit hard tonight off Nerio Rodriguez. Carlos Delgado now with an 11-game hit streak.
Well, this ball is crushed. He's always been a great fastball hitter. He gets one in the middle of the plate. You see how he takes that bat back. We talk about it a lot. Loading, almost cocking that left elbow. He's hit some very long home runs in his short career so far.
This, though, what the Blue Jays are doing right now, trying to put offense on the board, has been their Achilles heel this year. Their team average is by far the worst in the American League. Mike, it's so bad at 14th that they are, I think, 14 or 15 points below Oakland, who's right above them at 13.
They're dead last in a lot of offensive categories. Last in average, last in runs, last in hits, last in RBIs, and last in slugging percentage. I think the reason for optimism up here in Toronto is their pitching is third, right behind the Orioles. And their defense is second in the league. So those two categories usually lead to good things in the future.
Now the veteran Juan Samuel at the plate. Samuel's bounced around Major League Baseball, both leagues. Awaits Nerio Rodriguez, who moves him back. 2-1 on Juan Samuel. Normally see Ed Sprague at third base. Sprague has been a victim of injury. So is Orlando Merced, who we saw in right field. And the Jays, the last time we saw them, actually the first trip into Baltimore this year, swept the Orioles in 4 straight. Nerio Rodriguez, a young man who won 11-10 at Rochester this year. Before his call-up, has been given a 3-run cushion to work with here early.
Delgado was taking a little bit too long of a lead at second, so Nerio put that spin move on. On this AstroTurf, you really want to play as deeply as you can. Down 3 runs. They're really not expecting Delgado to go. It's just more of an annoyance.
Nerio Rodriguez has walked Juan Samuel. He's put a couple on after he got Joe Carter. The excellent sliding catch by Brady Anderson. There's one of the tough young hitters on this Toronto Ball Club, Sean Green. Green at 289. Pretty good power with 16 home runs.
Yeah, he really has emerged. They've been waiting for Sean Green to bloom, I guess, the last 2 or 3 seasons, and this year has started to come in his own. He's hit in 4 straight, 6 of 7. He's hit well against the Orioles.
Rodriguez misses again, so he's missed on 5 of the last 6. And Mike, you see Chris Hoyles is showing him arm slot there as Hoyles delivers the ball back to him.
Yeah, certainly you want to keep that elbow position up, and again the catcher many times you see Chris Hoyles trying to slow him down, stay back, don't be in a hurry to come forward, and get that elbow up.
1-0 to Green. Swing and a miss. Sean Green trying to tie it up with 1 swing.
You see the result. What happens is by getting that elbow up, you hide the ball much better. You get that downward plane that Ray Miller likes all the pitchers to have, and the ball is more alive. The movement is more 12-6 on the clock than I guess would that be 9-3.
Rodriguez ahead of Green now on 1-2. Mike, when I look at Sean Green, I can't help think of John Olerud, who at the plate, a lot of the same mannerisms, a lot of the same approach to hitting.
Exactly right. Sean Green's stance might be a little bit more open. Both very tall men with short swings.
This is popped up. Ripken over near the seats. Cal's going to have room. 2 down for Rodriguez as he got Green to pop it up.
Big out for Nerio Rodriguez.
Here's the veteran catcher, Charlie O'Brien. It has not been a good second half for Charlie. He has really dipped off dramatically. In September, O'Brien at just 176. Mike told you about this Toronto Ball Club, just about dead last in every offensive category. given that, it's amazing that they're only 22 games under 500. O'Brien with a fly ball to center. Going to get Nerio Rodriguez out of the second. He'll strand a couple. Brady Anderson picks it off to end Toronto's second inning. 3-0 Orioles. We'll come back to Sky Dome on O's TV. Most fans want you to watch for the Orioles bird at the Juvenile Diabetes Walk for the Cure on September 27th in Columbia, and then again on the 28th at the Baltimore Zoo. For more info over the O's are doing in your community, call area code 410-547-6168. The Orioles community calendar is sponsored by Bell Atlantic. They are the heart of communications. We go to the third here at Sky Dome. B.J. Surhoff looks at the Clemens fastball for a called strike. B.J. line drive base hit right past Roger Clemens into center field and drove in a run in inning number 1. Orioles got 2 in the first, 1 more in the second after Clemens set Robbie Alomar on his backside with a high tight fastball. Robbie got up and ripped a run producing double to the corner and right.
On Rogers' season where he's 21-6. 0-2 versus the Seattle Mariners, the only team that's really had a lot of success against Roger. Of his 55 earned runs this year, Roger has given up 16 to the Seattle Mariners in 21 innings. His ERA without Seattle being in the league, or maybe putting them in a higher league, would be 1.55 for the year.
Now Clemens has gone to 3-2 on B.J. Surhoff, so that Mariner bunch has tattooed him pretty good. However, as you said, look what it does to the ERA against the rest of the league. He's got B.J. Surhoff on the forkball swinging. Strikeout number 4. Every one of them have been polished off on the forkball for the third strike.
And the thing is, it's a 3-2 forkball leading off the inning. It shows you the confidence that Roger Clemens has in that forkball. Most times that sort of a count leading off the inning, you've already given up 3 runs where you don't want to walk the leadoff man. So you throw your highest percentage pitch, which is usually the fastball. So Roger taking a sort of a calculated chance there leading off the inning.
Forkball thrown by Cal Ripken, who swings through it. Cal, a strikeout victim, his first time.
I think it's safe to say he's thrown 2 forkballs for every fastball.
As we said, leading us to believe that maybe Roger just doesn't feel comfortable, or felt that he came out of the bullpen with his best pitch as his best pitch tonight.
Well, we've seen Roger certainly in the past wind up in fastball counts and challenge the hitters, but with every pitch he's thrown tonight, the fastball has been where he cares more about location than velocity.
He started tonight right on the heels of the big unit. A lot of conversation about Oriole land, about the big unit, as we head toward postseason play. A week from tomorrow, that could be the very assignment for the Birds in Kingdome, as Ripken fouls it off.
Well, it looks like it'll be Mike Mussina and Randy Johnson in game 1. Scott Erickson will get the call in game 2, and Jimmy Key will pitch game 3.
Well, Mike, you were doing a lot of surfing around. I had taken a look at some Jeff Fassaro, Jamie Moyer breakdowns, and what we found is that maybe Jamie Moyer would be the guy with that glittering home record to go in game 2. Swing and a miss. There, Roger Clemens went to his number 1, the fastball. He powered it by Cal Ripken. Strikeout number 5 for Clemens, as now he seems to be getting a little bit more free and easy. And Mike, with that strikeout, his 5th of the night, now Roger Clemens has surpassed Randy Johnson as the number 1 strikeout artist in the American League.
Right, and getting back to those numbers that we looked up, Jamie Moyer is 12-1 in the Kingdome.
Yeah.
16-4 overall, so just 4-3 on the road.
Swing and a miss. Clemens now just 1 pitch away from fanning the side here in the top of the 3rd. Now, whether he's feeling comfortable now or finally got interested in what was going on down in the diamond tonight, but it looks like the Rocket Man is in a groove.
His rhythm's a little bit better this inning, a little bit quicker paced. Again, not the animated Clemens that we're usually seeing.
The Orioles have gotten to him for 3. Lead it 3-0. 1-2 to Baroa. Just got a piece of the forkball. With nobody on and up 3-0, Geronimo is not cutting down at all on his swing against Rocket. He figures if I can make contact with one of those fastballs, I'm going to send it into orbit.
And that's the thing. You want to get it started against a pitcher like Clemens, who throws still, even at age 35, in the mid-90s.
2-2. Fastball miss.
You seem that Rogers sort of fighting his delivery so far, at least his fastball delivery. So twisting that back after each pitch. Most of the fastballs have been up and out of the zone.
3-2. Baroa laid off as Clemens missed on that outside corner.
Clemens on the season approaching 4,000 pitches thrown in, I guess, under duress. A lot of work.
Full count pitch. Fly ball. Fairly deep right, but there's room for Sean Green. He's got it. That'll do it for the O's here in the third. Orioles scoreless lead. Roger Clemens and the Blue Jays 3-0 when we come back to Skydome on the Orioles Television Network. Bottom of the third, beginning at Skydome in this 3-0 Orioles lead. Nerio Rodriguez with his breaking ball in for a called strike as he faces Tomas Perez, young second baseman. Perez was a late addition tonight, as Carlos Garcia was in the original starting lineup, but he got scratched. And Perez is given the call by Cito Gaston as Rodriguez works the outside corner. 1-2 on Tomas Perez.
And so far, Nerio has been much more pitch efficient than Roger Clemens. Just 25 pitches to get through 2.
Reaches out in the slider. Fly ball to the left of Geronimo Baroa in right field. He's got it for out number 1. All right, let's take a look at our Helix Health baseball board here for the first time tonight, and obviously the one we're keeping close tabs on. That's Kenny Rogers getting the starting assignment tonight. He's been given some run support. He leads the Cleveland Indians 5-2. They're in the top of the 5th across the lake at Jacobs Field. Detroit leads Boston 1-0 in the 5th at Tiger Stadium. Minnesota 3-0 on top of Chicago in Comiskey in the first. Milwaukee beat Kansas City 7-4 in game 1 of the doubleheader. They'll go in game 2 a little bit later on. And elsewhere, you see that Anaheim and Seattle go. This is the last gasp time for the Anaheim Angels against the Seattle Mariners. Magic number down to 1. Texas beat up on Oakland today and won at the final at 14-6. We'll check the National League coming up in just a little bit. A couple of races still going on there. Right here, 3-0 Birds as we play in the bottom of the third. Shannon Stewart, young center fielder, hits out of that slightly open stance at the plate. Some young talent, Mike, in the outfield. Shannon Stewart, obviously Jose Cruz Jr. They gave up 2 key members of the bullpen in Spoljaric and Timlin, but they got Jose Cruz Jr. and he has been very strong with the bat since he's come over.
Yes, he has. Certainly Shannon Stewart, that's now 7 for his last 13 at bats.
Swing and a miss. Nerio Rodriguez threw that slider right by Shannon Stewart for Nerio, his first strikeout of the night in setting down Stewart. Well, let's take a look at our National League board as promised. Montreal 2-1 over Florida Marlins. Need to win 1 more to clinch postseason. New York Mets playing real good baseball on top of Pittsburgh 2-0 in the third. Atlanta leads Philadelphia 3-0. They are in the 5th. Cincinnati, St. Louis, nothing happening in the second. Chicago and Houston early tied at 1. San Francisco 2.5 game lead. They go to Colorado tonight, and the LA Dodgers better kick it into gear as they host San Diego. And the Dodgers 2.5 back now with but 6 to play.
Getting very interesting.
Alex Gonzalez hitting with 2 out and nobody on against Nerio Rodriguez. Closed door meeting that Davey Johnson had today with the Orioles, paying some early dividends here in Skydome as the Birds lead the East by 3 as Gonzalez rifles it foul just outside the bag. But Mike, we've been talking about the magic number so much in the last week or 10 days to clinch. We look at Davey Johnson and Rick Down, and You know, now, as I said at the top of the show, the lead in the American League East is the same as the magic number. It's at 3 going into tonight, and with the New York adding a couple, Yankees are winning 7-2 now in the 5th at Jacobs Field. Ground ball that's pulled in by Nerio Rodriguez off the bat of Alex Gonzalez. Quick 1-2-3 third for the young Orioles right-hander. 3-0 Birds when we come back to Skydome.
WNUV's coverage of Orioles baseball is brought to you by Bell Atlantic 9X Mobile. A cell phone is only as good as the network it's on. By Montgomery Ward, where you'll find great brands at great prices. And by your local Chevrolet Geo dealers.
Michael Regai, Mike Flanagan, our producer director Bill Bell, and all of our crew as we greet you from Skydome in downtown Toronto. 3-0 Orioles as they face Roger Clemens here in the 4th. Chris Hoyle's going to lead it off. Mike Bordick and Brady Anderson. Hoyle struck out against Clemens to end inning number 1. Clemens has fanned 5 through 3 innings. The Orioles have gotten to him for 6 base hits, 4 singles, a couple of doubles. Bordick and Alomar in the run-producing Orioles second. Robbie with the RBI. On Chris Hoyle. I was talking to Chris in the clubhouse before the game, Mike, and talking about this final week, and he kind of smiled. He said, I enjoy this when you have some rough time, because in the end result, it's going to let you know what you're all about, and you really have the heart and the wherewithal to turn things around and go into postseason time like everybody thinks you should.
That certainly is a time where team chemistry comes into play when things aren't going well. Sort of reach down and tighten up, I guess.
Clemens 2-2 to Chris Hoyle. Got him swinging. Fork ball. 6 strikeout. Roger Clemens. Those fans, you got to wear what the pros wear with this official on-field turtleneck. Yeah, you see that Orioles insignia emblazoned in orange. It comes in both adult and youth sizes. Available right now. Order your turtleneck or merchandise catalog by calling the new Orioles merchandise hotline 1-888-624-BIRD. Write that down now. Order during tonight's game and receive a free Orioles team photo magnet. Get it right now. Think about Christmas coming up in just about 3 months, and you'll be well stocked with your Orioles merchandise. Teresa, our stage manager, says don't start talking about Christmas. It's too early. Here's Mike Bordick now. Mike drilled a 2-base hit inside Juan Samuel in the bag, and down in the corner and left his first time. Well, this guy's done his major league career, Mike, is be a stopper after losses. We're talking about a guy who began that in Boston, and this year with the lack of offense here in Toronto, he's had a lot of opportunities to do it.
Plenty of opportunities,
and he's responded.
A team that's lost 84 ball games.
Good Clemens slider.
That's sort of interesting because in watching Roger between innings, hardly threw a fastball. He broke out the slider, a pitch that we have not seen. So again, working on his other pitches besides his fastball tonight. It's really a slider forkball night so far.
Called strike 3, went to the heat there. Good fastball, froze Mike Bordick. He has struck out now 7 on the night, and beginning of the 3rd inning, Clemens has fanned 4 of the 5 Orioles that he's faced, and they're starting to rack up the K's here at Skydome.
I think the important column for the Orioles is the run column. 3 on the board already. So through 3 2/3, 11 outs, 7 recorded via strikeout.
And there's Brady Anderson. Brady had a base hit, started out the Oriole offense in the 1st, and scored a run. Brady's really starting to move up on a lot of all-time Oriole top 10 offensive category lists. Among them, on-base percentage, base on balls, extra base hits, home runs. 1-2 on Brady.
Brady not real happy about that last call on that fastball from home plate umpire Chuck Merriweather.
Clemens set to bring the 1-2. 2-2 on Anderson.
He actually saw Roger Clemens shake 3 times to get to that fork ball.
Ground ball at second baseman Tomas Perez. They throw Brady out. Roger Clemens has retired 6 in a row after he gave up 3 runs in the first 2 innings. 3-0 Birds. Bottom of the 4th coming up out of Sky Dome. Back to start the bottom of the 4th in this 3-0 Oriole lead. Jose Cruz Jr. Much talked about, very talented young outfielder. As you see, he has swung the long ball bat very efficiently since coming over from the Seattle Mariners. He faces young Nerio Rodriguez in this 3-0 Orioles lead. And Nerio has only given up the 1 base hit tonight. Cruz with a ground ball at Rafael Palmeiro. Beat Jose Cruz Jr. to the bag. Rodriguez takes care of Cruz. Take a look at our Hoover upcoming games. Will be on HCS tomorrow night when Chris Hoyles and the guys go after the Blue Jays. First pitch around 7:30. That means we will do Orioles report at 7 o'clock, and then back right here on O's TV on Thursday out of Sky Dome at 7:30. That's a look at our Hoover upcoming games through this series here in Toronto. Second start of the year for Nerio Rodriguez. Been very efficient in handling the Toronto Blue Jays as he faces Joe Carter, who he got out on a nice sliding catch by Brady Anderson in center field.
Well, Joe Carter is just 1 home run away from being the franchise leader of the Toronto Blue Jays. That's called getting the head out.
Joe, hold that bat back a little bit there, big guy.
It used to be the way you pitched Joe, certainly in his heyday, and he's still putting up big numbers, 20 home runs, 100 RBIs. But throw him in softly, let him pull 2 foul into their dugout, and then try to deal with Joe.
Popped Carter up. Cal Ripken says he will and does for out number 2 here in the 4th.
It's been the Nerio Rodriguez show, getting it done very quietly and efficiently. Just allowed 2 base runners, a double and a walk so far.
And here's the only base hit off Nerio Rodriguez, and it was loud. Carlos Delgado scorched a line drive down the corner and right. And Delgado has been about the only guy that Cito Gaston has had going well here in this month of September. A ball club that has a difficult time scoring runs. And they pitch well, as we've talked about.
Well, they lead the American League in shutouts thrown. That is by their pitching staff. They have shut out the Yankees 4 times. Lead the league in complete games with 19, and also have established a career team record for strikeouts. Just about 1,100. The Orioles, though, have more strikeouts than the Blue Jays. The Seattle Mariner franchise has the most in the league.
Nerio Rodriguez bent Carlos Delgado back with a fastball. That 2-base hit that Delgado drilled in the 2nd inning pushes his hit streak to 11 in a row.
That matches a career high for Delgado.
Changeup on the outside corner from Nerio Rodriguez. That's a couple he's thrown in this turn at the plate to Delgado.
Again, Delgado, one of those fastball hitters that likes fastball counts, and Nerio able to get that off-speed pitch over behind 3-1. Big pitch.
3-2 pitch. Ground ball to Roberto Alomar. Robbie will play the hop throw at Carlos Delgado. Another easy inning for Nerio Rodriguez. Let's go to the 5th in this 3-0 Orioles lead out of Skydome. Here's a reminder for you, fans. Make sure you stop by the Orioles bar at the Sheraton Inner Harbor Hotel. Now it's going to be the place to converge. I guarantee you during postseason play you want to talk Orioles baseball and hang out with those that wear the colors of the Birds. Orioles bar, Sheraton Inner Harbor Hotel. Robbie Alomar leading off in the top of the 5th. Roberto won the war with Roger Clemens twice tonight. Bunt, base hit, and scored a run. RBI double drove in a run after Clemens sent him down sprawling in the dirt with a high, tight fastball in the 2nd. Robbie's 2 for 2. Swinging the bat extremely well. Got that average up to 326. Well, this is reminiscent of how Alomar started April and May of 1996 with those 79 hits as he taps it foul.
Well, Robbie hit 328 for the Orioles last year. Right about at his same pace. 193 hits last year for Robbie. Of course, he had some brilliant seasons for the Toronto Blue Jays. Was here for 5 years. MVP of the Blue Jays 3 times.
1-2 pitch is pop foul back over our heads in the seats. And Mike, I don't think there's any question the Orioles need Roberto Alomar just in the same type of groove he's in right now. Robbie, a part of those World Series championships in back-to-back years. But when Alomar is swinging the bat like he is right now, oh, how he can pretty much carry a ball club. Rips another line drive. This time Tomas Perez going to go down to one knee to pick it off. So Roberto never dropped the bat as he drilled a line drive at Tomas Perez for out number 1. Well, let's run through our Nissan trivia here tonight in Skydome. Who's the last American League team to have back-to-back Cy Young Award winners? Last American League ball club that went back-to-back was Cy Young Award winners. You think about that, and we will give you the answer a little bit later on this inning. It might have something to do with somebody in the ballpark here. Maybe.
Well, certainly potential to have back-to-back. Last year, winner Pat Henkin, member of the Toronto Blue Jays, and many feel Clemens maybe the leader for this year's Cy Young.
1-2 on Rafael Palmeiro. Roger Clemens has struck out 7 birds tonight. However, the O's got 2 of them. 2 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd. Lead at 3-0 here in the 5th.
There's Roger, a 3-time Cy Young Award winner.
2-2 on Palmeiro.
1986, Roger Clemens was MVP and Cy Young Award winner. The only pitcher in Major League history to win the MVP, Cy Young Award, and All-Star Game MVP.
Palmeiro will lift it to short left. Alex Gonzalez going to give way to left fielder Jose Cruz Jr., who's got it for out number 2 here in the 5th. All right, let's revisit our Nissan trivia. I think we've given you enough hints. The last American League team to have back-to-back Cy Young Award winners. That would be,
survey says,
the Boston Red Sox, because we talked about Clemens winning back-to-back Cy Youngs a little bit earlier in the telecast tonight. 2 pretty strong years for the Rocket.
In 1987, we talked about Rogers' 86 season. He went 24-4. 1987, he went 20-9, winning his 2nd Cy Young Award. And he won his 3rd in 1991 and ties Jim Palmer for the American League record with 3 Cy Youngs. He won 18-10 that year.
Harold Baines with a ground ball at shortstop. Alex Gonzalez. He'll gun down Harold. That's going to do it. Halfway home. 3-0 Orioles.
Orioles baseball is brought to you by your local Jeep and Eagle dealer. By the Maryland Lottery. Remember, you got to play to win. It could be you. By Citgo. Just get up and go. Citgo says go. And by Pepsi, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball.
Bottom of the fifth for Nerio Rodriguez and the Orioles here against Juan Samuel leading it off in the 3-0 O's lead. Samuel drew a walk his first time. Only time tonight that Toronto has put a couple on in a row. And then in the second, Delgado doubled, Samuel walked, but Nerio Rodriguez made the big pitches to Sean Green, and that was the key at bat in that inning.
Sure was. Samuel at the plate, really a dead fastball hitter. He's always been an outstanding hitter. Had some big years for the Phillies.
Line drive that Cal Ripken, glove with the one quick step and then down to a knee to his left. Ripken just reaching to his left quickly to stab the hot line drive off the bat of Samuel.
He still hit a fastball and a fastball count. 2-1 fastball to Samuel. See how quickly he gets the bat head through that strike zone. Just poor location. As Cal Ripken Sr. would say, they're playing a man there for over 100 years. Try a different area, especially that one.
There's Sean Green we talked about a moment ago. Sean Green popped up to Cal Ripken. He'll help out Nerio Rodriguez's cause in the second. Swing and a miss from Green. We talked about the rangy size of Green. 6'4", young man out of the state of Illinois, as Rodriguez works him over on the inside corner for a called strike.
When you talk about the comparison to John Olerud, it seems like the Orioles pitching plan is much similar to that of Olerud. Pound him in at his hands, likes to get those arms extended. He's also had a pretty good career after the All-Star break. A .315 hitter, 21 home runs, 85 RBIs in the second half.
A lot of guys like that, Mike, slow starters.
Chris Oyles, the Orioles, a notorious slow starter. B.J. Suroff in his years with the Brewers was considered a slow starter.
Nerio Rodriguez just sets down Sean Green, striking him out to send him back to the dugout. So Rodriguez just continues impressively. Now for Nerio tonight, that is strikeout number 2 of Blue Jay hitting.
He's really been very pitch efficient, getting ahead of most of the Blue Jay hitters.
That he has. A lot of information for you about your favorite baseball team is on the Orioles official website, brought to you by Bell Atlantic Internet Solutions. You check out all the new Orioles online merchandise catalog and a whole lot more. You can get online today at www.theorioles.com. There's Charlie O'Brien with the bases clear. 2 out. It's a fastball for a called strike. O'Brien retired on a fly ball to Brady Anderson. That ended the second inning. The only mild threat that Toronto has had. Broke his bat, got jammed. Cal Ripken not able to catch up to it near the seats. Cito Gaston. If you weren't with us at the top of the show, Cito Gaston most probably on his way out here in Toronto. Paul Beeston, of course, joined the Major League office in New York City. New ownership coming in here, and you would think, Mike, that maybe Gaston, as Cito said, hit the end of the line here. O'Brien with a fly ball. Center field that Brady Anderson hauls in, and that's going to do it. Again, Nerio Rodriguez has not given up a base hit since Delgado's double in the second. 3-0 Orioles. Tonight's contestant in our Pepsi Big Slam Home Run Derby inning, Virginia Donovan of Stevensville, Maryland. Virginia, if the O's hit any home runs during tonight's Pepsi Big Slam inning, you're going to win a case of Pepsi and $100. So Virginia, good luck. Beat Jay Surhall. Start out by bouncing to Tomas Perez, 1 down against Roger Clemens here in the 6th. Here's Cal Ripken to face Roger. Cal has struck out both times that he has hit against Clemens tonight. Let's take a look at our Orioles Baltimore Sun in-game box score for you. See, Robbie Alomar's paced the offense tonight, 2 for 3 with a run driven in and a run scored. 6 hits in the first 2 innings by the Birds off Roger Clemens. Nothing since. Ripken hits it sharply but flagged down by shortstop Alex Gonzalez. 2 gone. Here are the Birds' 6th. Now, Mike, there are the guys down there that are going to be asked to get it done come postseason time. Carry the banner of the Orioles more than likely into Seattle.
Yep, certainly. Scotty Erickson will get game 2 and Jimmy Key game 3. And Scott Kamenicki, who I think is going to work in this series.
Scott's working tomorrow night, but I've got a feeling that Kamenicki is going to be a very valuable asset out of the bullpen in that first series against Seattle.
Well, it gives you another weapon long man out of that bullpen. And you know, if the Orioles certainly get past the first round, I'm sure Kamenicki will get a start.
In a 7-game series, if it were to go deep into a series, I think
you
you're
get
right.
the feeling something good's going to happen to Scott Kamenicki. I think after last year just about being out of baseball, and he talked in one of the interviews we did that, you know, this year, last year this time was on his way to Florida on rehab, really a man without a team. What a long road he has come back from.
Juan Samuel throws out Geronimo Barroa. His bouncing ball to third. So 3 ground balls for Roger Clemens here in the 6th. He's retired 12 in a row. Orioles lead at 3-0 on O's TV. Rapidly paced game tonight here at Skydome as we come back for the bottom of the 6th. Orioles lead at 3-0. The second baseman, 9th place hitter Tomas Perez to lead off against Nerio Rodriguez. Rodriguez has retired 11 in a row since he walked Juan Samuel in the 2nd.
Terrific pitch count so far by Nerio Rodriguez. Just 65 pitches into the 6th inning.
Called strike to Tomas Perez. 2-1.
We talked about Nerio being the converted catcher, originally signed by the White Sox, and Carlos Bernhardt, the Oriole outstanding Latin American scout. It was his brother that signed him to a contract. Hit .235 1 year in the minor leagues. Next year came back as a pitcher.
It's been a struggle for Tomas Perez, as you see, and then a base hit in his last 5 games. 2-2 now on the Jays second baseman, who leads off here in the 6th. O's holding a 3-0 lead. Jays only had the 1 base hit, the double by Carlos Delgado, and that's been it. Nerio Rodriguez has thrown masterfully. Behind Tomas Perez, 3-2. Done exactly what Davey Johnson and Ray Miller have wanted, Mike. I don't probably first sign of trouble, though. Davey will be going to that bullpen.
Well, certainly with a 3-0 lead, and wins certainly difficult to come by. So I'm sure the first sign of trouble. I think Arthur Rhodes is already up in the Oriole pen. Here, Nerio walks the 9th place hitter.
Bring up Shannon Stewart as Arthur Rhodes does heat up to the eye of Elrod Hendricks down there. Shannon Stewart, Mike told you, he's been a pretty hot hitter and pretty warm too with runners in scoring position. Been over 320 in that category. A lot of speed. Drive to the gap, deep left center field. It's going to get all the way to the wall. That's going to score 1. Tomas Perez being waved in. Stewart heading to third. 3-base hit. 3-1 Orioles. Nerio Rodriguez has given 1 back. And now Shannon Stewart 90 feet away after his triple to the gap in deep left center.
amazing how quickly walks will come around the score. Leadoff walk to the 9th place hitter. Hanging slider to Shannon Stewart. Just splits that gap. Ball rattling around gives Stewart a chance to get all the way to third base. So now the second run just 90 feet away. Nobody out. And certainly the 2, 3, 4 hitters coming up. Davey Johnson checking that matchup sheet.
There's Alex Gonzalez. Obviously, the Orioles infield defense going to play back. They'll give up that second run to get the first out of the inning. Drive to deep left. Surhoff back. He'll reach up and pull it in. That'll easily score Shannon Stewart. So the Jays real quickly have cut this 3-run lead down to 1 now on the sacrifice fly off the bat of Alex Gonzalez, his 35th run driven in on the year. 3-2 Orioles.
Looks like Davey Johnson's going to make the move now. 3-2, and the powerful young Cruz at the plate. Probably go get the more experienced Arthur Rhodes. Certainly Nerio had a fine job. I think what probably bothers Davey more than anything is this inning, Nerio getting the ball up in the strike zone and getting the leadoff walk is a sign to Davey that maybe Nerio had enough.
All right, let's get our Bell Atlantic call to the bullpen in this 3-2 Orioles lead over Toronto in the 6th. We'll tell you about Arthur Rhodes when we come back to Skydome. Ray Miller and Tony Tarasco leading the cheers for Nerio Rodriguez. Strong outing for Nerio, Mike, though quickly the Jays put a couple on the board to cut the lead to 1.
Yeah, you see how quickly the Orioles dug out up. A very big game in the scheme of things for the Orioles. Arthur Rhodes will bring that 10-3 record in. 91 in the 3rd innings pitched, 97 strikeouts, just 25 walks. But the bullpen has been struggling the month of September. An ERA over 7. Davey Johnson would like to get that bullpen back to being as efficient as it was the first 5 months of the season. Only 1 month they had a collective ERA over 3. But I think Davey has to be proud of the job that young man did for him tonight.
And 1 5 and a third.
Clemens, yeah.
Sure.
A lot of I guess external and internal pressure.
Stands to get the win. Now this is going to turn Jose Cruz Jr. around. He'll swing from the right side against left-handed throwing Arthur Rhodes. Nerio Rodriguez kept Jose Cruz very quiet tonight. A couple of ground ball outs as a left-handed hitter. 3-2 Orioles as Cruz has a rip of the fastball and fouls it off. Break down Cruz's power production. Just 4 of them as a right-handed hitter here in Toronto. As Arthur Rhodes misses to go down 2-1. He's at 25 on the year, 13 of them as a member of the Blue Jays. 4 from the right side of the plate.
More bats accumulated, I'm sure, from the left side.
Although those 4 are in 48 trips to the plate, so 1 in every 12, not bad. Rhodes is behind 3-1. And the only bad thing here, though, Mike, as we looked at the numbers, and Davey looking ahead, is Joe Carter's hit Arthur very well.
Yeah, and you know, again, hopefully this is a different Arthur Rhodes than the Arthur of the past. But Carter, 374 hitter, a couple of home runs, 4 RBIs against Arthur Rhodes. So the man that Arthur wants to get is at the plate.
5 pitches. The Jays have the potential tying run aboard here with 1 out in the 6th as Jose Cruz Jr. draws the 1-out walk from Arthur Rhodes. First hitter he faces. Here's Joe Carter. And let's check in over across the lake in Jacobs Field. Well, they just changed it, but we could tell you that the Indians came back a little bit and put 3 on the board in the 6th, but still trail it by 3. Yankees had added a couple in the 5th and 6th. They're in the 7th. 9-6 New York on top of the Cleveland Indians. So I'll keep you updated on that as Carter gets set to face Arthur Rhodes. You were with us at the top of the show when Joe Carter got to the plate for the first time. His RBI base hit last night in New York City, and puts Carter over the 100 RBI plateau for 10 straight years. There it is, 9-6 in the 7th. Yankees are still holding that 3-run lead, so they continue to batter around Cleveland in the Indians' home ballpark. Joe Carter was trying to put Roger Clemens out ahead by 1 with one big swing.
And this year, Joe Carter's had a tough time against right-handed pitching, hitting just .213 on the season, 14 home runs. Against left-handed pitching, much better, .297.
Rhodes is going to go check on Jose Cruz. Mike, as we look at the numbers from Joe Carter, the power numbers are starting to come down a little bit now the last couple of years.
And also, I would say the average, that is the biggest drop. Carter in the past always been able to spread out that stance with 2 strikes and use the whole field.
Ground ball toward Mike Bordick. Can they turn a pair? Alomar 1. No. A big bouncing ground ball. Bordick had to charge and gave Jose Cruz Jr. time to bear down on Robbie Alomar. So Carter with a fielder's choice ground ball. He's at first with 2 out now for Carlos Delgado.
It was that he hooks this fastball. It's down and away. Is he just getting off the end of the bat? But that high chopper just takes too much time for the double play to sort of set up. No chance for really Alomar to double up Carter.
Carlos Delgado. Not too many power threats in this Cito Gaston lineup, but this is one of them. Delgado, 30 home runs on the year. He's driven in 91. We saw him hit a couple of long home runs in Camden Yards earlier this year. Slider on the outside corner. Rhodes ahead of Carlos Delgado.
And Delgado hit his 30th home run of the season off of former Oriole Jamie Moyer September 14th. Just his 2nd home run of the year off of a left-handed pitcher. One of the reasons I'm sure
shattered the bat, did Delgado. Rhodes knocked down the ground ball back at the mound. He'll throw Carlos Delgado out. That bat wound up down in the camera bay by the Orioles dugout. 3-2 Birds. 7th inning coming up after Toronto gets a pair. As we go to the 7th, let's take a peek at our Southwest Airlines game summary. Orioles got 2 in the first, 4 base hits. They did leave the bases loaded. Robbie Alomar doubled in the 2nd. Robbie's 2 for 3 in the 9th. Blue Jays got a couple in the 6th. Chasing Nerio Rodriguez. Shannon Stewart's triple of the gap. Deep left center highlighted the inning. 7th inning in store for us here at Skydome. Michael Rega, Mike Flanagan. Sure hope you're enjoying tonight. Orioles trying to drop the magic number to 2. Regardless of what happens in Jacobs Field tonight, with the Yankees on top 9-6 over the Cleveland Indians in the 7th. Chris Hoyle struck out 2 times against Roger Clemens. Roger Clemens has retired 14 Orioles in a row. Robbie Alomar, the last to reach with his RBI double back in the 2nd, and it's been all Clemens since then. Has found the fastball a little bit, Mike, but still it's been the fork ball that's been his out pitch.
yeah, he stayed right with it. He's thrown in a couple of sliders, but now over 100 pitches. To see how far Cito Gaston will go with Roger Clemens.
1-2 on Chris Hoyles. Chris is a fan both times tonight against Roger Clemens. Six games to go, counting this one here. That's a 3-2 Oriole lead in the 7th. Orioles trying to take it strong into postseason play. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 8 for Roger Clemens. He's gotten Hoyles 3 times. He's gotten Ripken twice.
And take a look at that fork ball and the target from Charlie O'Brien. Pitch that certainly too close to take for Hoyles. The bottom's still falling out of that fork ball.
Here's Mike Bordick. Bordick with a double and scored a run. Mike had the 2-base hit to lead off the second. And after Clemens got Brady Anderson, he rode home on Roberto Alomar's double to the corner and right. Bordick with a line drive, base hit left field. Mike Bordick with another multi-hit game. He's aboard with 1 out here in the O's half of the 7th. Oriole fans, you can start thinking about baseball in February. Right now in September, live out those baseball dreams of yours at the official Orioles fantasy camp. Join Hall of Fame greats like our colleague here in the booth, Jim Palmer, Earl Weaver, Brooks and Frank Robinson. My partner Mike Flanagan will be down there throwing and managing a ball club, don't you?
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out, either managing, but I'll be around doing something.
Sure. And space is limited, so make sure you get your reservations in now to get your spot on the roster. Fantasy baseball, Orioles style, in the month of February. Brady Anderson. Well, the O's would love to tack on another 1 or 2 here against Roger Clemens, Mike, because, you know, again, with Toronto only averages about a little less than 4 a night.
Well, they've made their hits count tonight. 2 hits, 2 runs. The Orioles 3 runs, 7 hits. But just 1 hit, I believe, since Bordick's last hit back in the 2nd, or actually Alomar's hit in the 2nd.
Clemens had retired 15 in a row before Mike Bordick's base hit ended that run. Brady Anderson fouls it upper deck left side. 2-1 now on Brady. Brady tonight had a base hit to set the whole thing in motion. Back in the 1st. Clemens has gotten him the last 2 times. Of course, tonight too, helping out defensively, one of the patented trademark Anderson sliding defensive gems tonight. Brady awaits the 2-1. Followed again. 2-2 now on Anderson.
Talked about that 3rd Cy Young that Clemens won in '91. Won 18 and 10. Scott Erickson of the Orioles went 20 and 8 that year. The only 20-game winner in the league. Scotty finished 2nd in the balloting. Amazing thing about Clemens that year, he did not allow a home run to a right-handed batter all season.
In Fenway Park, no less. Incredible. 2-2 to Anderson. Drive to deep left center field. Jose Cruz back near the track. He's got room to make the catch. Brady trying to make a bid for extra bases the other way, but Jose Cruz back near the warning track pulled it in for out number 2.
One of the years that Clemens did not win the Cy Young, 1990, the year before, 21 and 6. Bob Welsh of the Oakland Athletics won 27 games that year. Clemens that year finished with an ERA under 2.
There's Robbie Alomar. Roberto with a base hit that has made the difference as we stand right now. And it came in a very dramatic moment too, after Roger Clemens had unleashed a fastball under the Alomar chin that dropped Robbie into the dirt. Got up and promptly drilled a double in the corner and right.
The difference really in the ball game, that at bat.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Robbie had some big years for the Blue Jays. His best year was 1993. Hit .326, scored 109 runs.
And down he goes again.
Davey Johnson is fed up as he was the last time it happened. And again, yelling out at home plate umpire Chuck Merriweather as he checks out Davey Johnson.
Oh, now we're going to get some conversation. Here we go. Davey and Chuck Merriweather. And O'Brien's talking to Alomar, and Johnson's going nose to nose. Davey got his money's worth. He's now done for the evening. He had his say-so with Chuck Merriweather and has been run.
Well, Davey certainly standing up for Robbie Alomar at the plate and what's going on with Roger Clemens, and he's still hot. I think Davey has had sort of a short fuse the last couple of days with the way that things have gone of late. Take it this last pitch up around the head area. And it's a long way for a right-handed pitcher to go to throw the ball into a left-hander. Time to see a right-hander actually knock down a right-hander, but it's a long way to go to get a left-hander.
Lamar with a swing and a miss. 2-2 now. Twice tonight, Roger Clemens has thrown under the chin and close to the head of Robbie Alomar. Will waste a 2-2 pitch. Ground ball to Clemens. It's going to end it here in the 7th. Orioles strand one. 3-2. Birds lead when we come back to Skydome. Drama getting kicked up a little bit. Don't go. I want to remind you, those fans, that HTS is going to follow the Birds right into postseason. And you want to tune in a week from tonight, Tuesday, September 30th, 7 o'clock. Orioles wire to wire. Well, now we'll wrap up with the Birds in '97 season. We're going to show you all the great moments of the winning season. We'll get a preview of the playoffs. We'll talk to a lot of focal points on this ball club. We call it Orioles wire to wire. Yours truly, Mike Flanagan, will handle the hosting chores. 7 o'clock Tuesday, September 30th on HTS. Arthur Rhodes facing Juan Samuel in a 1-run Orioles lead here in the bottom of the 7th. Birds got 2 in the first, 1 in the second. Off Roger Clemens. Toronto answered with 2 in the 6th to knock out Nerio Rodriguez. 1-1 to Samuel. 2-1. Take another look at our Helix Health baseball board coming up in just a moment. 3-1 as Arthur Rhodes trying to be slowed down by Chris Hoyles here in the 7th inning.
They had a problem with those ribs going back to that series, even in New York, and a little bit prior to that. But the bullpen collectively has struggled the month of September.
Bullpen numbers, pitching numbers, not a pretty sight as Samuel fouls it. Right back to our right.
Fewest saves of any month have been the month of September, just 3. April they saved 13, May 13, 9 in June, 7 in July, and 11 in August.
Full count pitch to Samuel. Ground ball toward the hole. Bordick, long throw, not going to be in time. Infield base hit. Juan Samuel here to lead off. Inning number 7 for the Jays. Let's take a look now at that Helix Health baseball scoreboard. We will start in Jacobs Field in Cleveland. Hideki Arabu on now. And just gone to the 8th, so Arabu got through the 7th. Still 9-6. New York on top of Cleveland. Detroit Tigers are staying hot. They lead Boston 6-0 in the 7th at Tiger Stadium. Minnesota 5-3 over Chicago. They're in the 5th. Milwaukee beat KC 7-4. Game 1 of a double dip at County Stadium. Kansas City with an early lead. Texas big over Oakland today. Right here, 3-2 Birds in the 7th as Juan Samuel is led off with an infield base hit. Here's Sean Green now. Cal Ripken, Rafael Palmeiro, Mike, both started their descent on home plate coming in on the corners. So I thought maybe Cito Gaston wants to try to get this one tied up.
And that's why that step off move from Arthur Rhodes, to see if Green would tip his hand, maybe sliding that hand up the bat.
No sign of the bunt as Rhodes pumped the fastball for a called strike. Green's 0 for 2 tonight. You look at that Orioles infield defense behind Arthur Rhodes.
Well, double play depth up the middle. Ripken in shallow at third. Palmeiro, of course, holding Samuel on at first. The Again, Sean Green showing no sign of the bunt. A little surprising with the left-on-left matchup. A couple of right-handed hitters due up, but they are your 8-9 hitters in your lineup.
Oh, 1 to Green. Now he squares. Went to put the bunt down. Drew the bat back. 1-1 on Green.
Actually very late in turnaround and squaring. Someone like Arthur, if you're up there to sacrifice, you better get it turned around and out in front of that plate if you want any hope of bunting it. Of course, very difficult to bunt on this surface. The ball picks up speed as it rolls, does not slow down a bit. Very bouncy turf.
Samuel with the lead. The Orioles have out hit the Jays 7-3, but have seen their lead shrink to 1. 3-2 here in the 7th.
Samuel with a pretty good lead over at first out on that carpet. Throwing over the first base a couple of times. With the count 1-1, not sure if maybe Cito would take the bunt off, try a hit and run, or a straight steal. Become much clearer after this pitch what is on.
Green is square.
Well, double play depth up the middle. Ripken in shallow at third. Palmeiro, of course, holding Samuel on at first. Again, Sean Green showing no sign of the bunt. A little surprising with the left-on-left matchup. A couple of right-handed hitters due up, but they are your 8-9 hitters in your lineup.
Oh, 1 to Green. Now he squares. Went to put the bunt down. Drew the bat back. 1-1 on Green.
Actually very late in turnaround and squaring. Someone like Arthur, if you're up there to sacrifice, you better get it turned around and out in front of that plate if you want any hope of bunting it. Of course, very difficult to bunt on this surface. The ball picks up speed as it rolls, does not slow down a bit. Very bouncy turf.
Samuel with the lead. The Orioles have out hit the Jays 7-3, but have seen their lead shrink to 1. 3-2 here in the 7th.
Samuel with a pretty good lead over at first out on that carpet. Throwing over the first base a couple of times. With the count 1-1, not sure if maybe Cito would take the bunt off, try a hit and run, or a straight steal. Become much clearer after this pitch what is on.
Green is square. Rhodes set him down with the 1-1 fastball. It's 2-1 now on Sean Green.
The crowd sort of getting into it, but it's fairly common with a left-handed pitcher and a left-handed batter. Ball's going to run in towards a lefty.
Cito's smiling about it.
Can you see that lead of Samuel? The way you judge a good lead in an artificial surface, if they get out 1 foot on the carpet, and that's where Samuel's right foot is.
The pace has slowed down dramatically here in the bottom of the 7th after the leadoff infield base hit from Juan Samuel. He's at first with nobody out. Sean Green has squared his last 2 pitches from Arthur Rhodes. Both have missed, so he waits the 2-1 pitch. Squared again. This time the offered, and I think it got a piece of Chris Hoyle's.
It may have got him up around the neck area. Cal Ripken in very close at third, sort of discouraged that bunt. A lot of catchers wear a flap under that bar under their chin. Bounces right up underneath that mask. That's another look at it. A lot of you see that sort of dangling I guess leather piece they wear, they attach right onto that chin.
Well, they've got 3-1 on the board, but that's 2-2 now, as Green got a piece of that on his bunt attempts and fouled it off.
You see the home plate umpire signaling that 2-2. So maybe with the exchange rate here in Canada, maybe that would make it 3-1, but we're not falling for it.
Canadian to American. Swinging a miss. Arthur Rhodes. Big strikeout of Sean Green.
Well, unable to advance the runner. So far, anyway, it has cost the Blue Jays. Arthur Rhodes very tough on left-handed hitters. It's that slider. You see the bottom fall out. Green swinging over the top, but missed it by a good foot.
And the acting skipper here in the late innings, Rick Down, after Davey Johnson was ejected by home plate umpire Chuck Merriweather. One out here in the 7th after Green not able to get a bunt down. Charlie O'Brien, the catcher, at the plate. See what's going on in that Orioles bullpen out there.
Armando Benitez up and getting heated quickly. It's very difficult bullpen to see anything out of. There's just one little plexiglass window there.
Slider fooled Charlie O'Brien as Rhodes gets ahead at 0-1.
Actually, in the dugouts, both managers will have TVs, and it has a couple of channels. One of those not being CNN. It's you see there, and when you change the channel, it'll go from one bullpen to the other. So Cito Gaston gets to see who's warming up in the opposition bullpen as well as check his own.
What about O's TV?
They probably get it.
Cito should have that down there. 3-2 Orioles lead. And the bottom of the 7th as Rhodes is facing Charlie O'Brien. Just threw the fastball right by him. Pitch. And he'll foul it back. David Justice has just homered in Jacobs Field. The number on the board right, it was off Hideki Arabu. Arabu pitched a scoreless 7th. Justice is homered, solo home run, 9-7 Yankees on top. Bottom of the 8th, or the Indians still hitting in Jacobs Field. 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Charlie O'Brien down on strikes, and the Arthur Rhodes slider. 2 down now here in inning number 7.
After the leadoff infield single by Sam Will, Arthur's really turned it up a notch, striking out Green and O'Brien. Now the 9th place hitter, Perez, who caused the problems for Nerio Rodriguez in the 6th. Leadoff walk.
Light hitting second baseman Tomas Perez. Orioles outfield defense shallow, swung around a little bit to right. Perez without any home runs this year. Just a 189 hitter. You see the alignment. Well, you don't figure Perez to hurt you, and yet, Mike, that's what made that Nerio Rodriguez leadoff walk to him in the 6th so dramatic, and it wound up costing a couple of runs. There goes Samuel. Hoyle's throw, not in time. Stolen base. Juan Samuel. He's in scoring position now with the 2 out here in the bottom of the 7th. 5th stolen base in the year for Samuel.
Samuel, we talk about different kinds of leads. This time Samuel gets a shorter walking lead. Sort of lulls the pitcher into a false sense of security, and then he's just off with that walking lead as momentum carries him to second base with a real good jump. A head first slide. Now the tying run is at second base with 2 outs.
Brady Anderson is about as shallow as you're going to see in center field. Now, we'll get a look at this. Mike, this is how when pitchers used to hit, you see outfield alignment defense. No offense now. No offense.
Yeah, that's where you should play.
Besides, you were a child of the DH era anyway.
Well, the reason being, too, on a single here, you want to be able to throw Samuel out. Before with Samuel at first, you wanted to play a little bit deeper because you didn't want the ball over your head or to split a gap to tie it up. Now they'll try to prevent the single from falling in front of them. Just playing the percentages.
1-2 to Perez. Fly ball, center field. Brady Anderson's tracked it and pulled it in, and that'll do it. Samuel's stolen base is left at second base. 3-2 Orioles, 8th inning coming up on O's TV.
WNUV's coverage of Orioles baseball is brought to you by Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages, where people go to buy, find, or do just about anything. By Meineke Discount Muffler Shops. At Meineke, you're not going to pay a lot, but you'll get a lot. And by your Dodge dealers. We know how to help.
All rights to our baseball telecast reserved. Any rebroadcast, recording, retransmission, or other use of all the pictures without the express written permission of the Baltimore Orioles and CBS Cable is solely prohibited. Certainly hope you're enjoying night number 1 of this final week of the season on the road trip in Toronto. Michael Reggie, Mike Flanagan. As we go to the 8th, Orioles have been held in check by the Rocket, Roger Clemens, since they put 2 on the board in the first, 1 more in the second. 3-2. Orioles lead it. Rafael Palmeiro to lead it off. Rafael to be followed by Harold Baines. And then B.J. Surhoff. This is 3, 4, and 5. Palmeiro with a blast deep down the line in right. Green chasing off the wall at the 328 mark. Rafael coasted into second base. 2-base hit on the first pitch of the inning from Roger Clemens. So Palmeiro just missed his 38th home run of the year by a couple of feet deep down the line in right.
I see Robbie turning around checking that fence. Thought it had a chance to get out of here. A little bit out on his front foot with that forkball. Sort of one-hands it. He doesn't miss being a home run by much more than maybe a foot.
Well, there's Harold Baines. Harold had an RBI base hit his first time as Charlie O'Brien keeps the Clemens forkball in front of him. Baines is 1 for 3 on the night. RBI single. Clemens got him on ground balls the last 2 times.
Drove in the Orioles their first run of the game back in the first. Charlie O'Brien going out to Roger Clemens to talk it over. How do you want to handle Baines? We know he's trying to pull the ball to advance Palmeiro to third. How do you want to prevent him from doing that, or how do you think we can? Especially when tonight his forkball has been his dominant pitch.
All right, let's take a look at our Geico pennant race update. Bottom of the 8th in Jacobs Field. Yankees lead at 9-7. Joe Torre is going to Mike Stanton out of his bullpen to replace Hideki Arabu. 9-7 Yankees. They trail by 3 in the American League East with counting tonight 6 games to go for both the Orioles and the Yanks. (2-0 to Baines. 3-0. See Terry Matthews now up in Davey Johnson's bullpen. The top of the lineup for Toronto in the bottom of the 8th. But the Orioles with an opportunity to add to the lead right here. On 4 pitches, Roger Clemens issues the walk to Harold Baines. 2 on, nobody out.
That's what happens when you're trying to prevent 1 run. Sometimes you set yourself up for a big inning. I'm sure Clemens is sort of pitching around Harold in that situation. Now really just one batter away from getting to the right-handed part of the lineup. Take a look at the Blue Jays bullpen. Dan Plesac and Paul Quantrill.
There's B.J. Surhoff. B.J. also with an RBI single in the first. The 8th run this year he's driven in against the Jays. And Roger Clemens now has missed with 5 in a row after his first pitch of the 8th inning was ripped to right off the wall. 2-base hit from Rafael Palmeiro. Six in a row and missed the plate. 2-0 on Surhoff.
125th pitch thrown by Clemens, so the pitch count certainly mounting.
That's going to get a visit from the pitching coach, Mel Queen of the Toronto Blue Jays, for Roger Clemens. While Mel Queen goes out to the mound, let's talk a little bit about looking a little bit different than the everyday player for you Orioles fans. Here's your chance to buy an authentic Orioles black alternate jersey like you see on your screen, exactly like Cal Ripken and all the birds wear. Customized with your name and favorite number with your favorite Orioles name and number. Order your jersey or merchandise catalog right now by calling the O's merchandise hotline at 1-888-624-BIRD. You can order during tonight's game. There's operators on by, standing by to take your call. You can receive a free Orioles team photo magnet if you do so. So make sure you start looking like an authentic Oriole. Roger Clemens. Rough first inning. Orioles got him for 1 in the second. He cruises through the next 5 all the way up here and out of the 8th. He's behind Surhoff 2-0. 2-0. Mike. B.J. probably looking fastball, and Roger goes back to that pretty strong forkball of his.
He got it in a good spot. B.J. checking with Chuck Merriweather to see if it was a strike.
Two-one pitch. Clemens has come back to even the count at 2-2.
Actually appears that B.J. is looking for that forkball in this at bat. He's convinced Surhoff he's going to at least get a couple during every at bat. That's what a good RBI man does. Try to read the pitcher's pattern. That's why the conversation with the pitching coach, I think they sense it too, that Surhoff looking for that forkball.
Swing and a miss. Went to the fastball up, threw it right by B.J. for out number 1. Big strikeout for Clemens here in the 8th.
Again, that's a veteran move. All those forkballs here. He throws a high fastball out of the zone and gets B.J. to expand. Big out for Roger Clemens.
There's Cal Ripken now. Cal has struck out twice and grounded out to short. Merrill and Baines aboard. Here in the 8th in this 1-run game. To Cal. This is in 2-0.
See Cal taking a little bit of extra time. What do you look for 2-0? You're going to look for a fastball out over the plate, or you think Roger's going to come back with that forkball? But you have the luxury of at least guessing twice.
Turn the fastball loose, missed badly out of the zone. 3-0 to Ripken. Strange inning for Roger Clemens.
And that's what happens a lot of times when you sort of can that fastball for a couple of innings. When you go to get it, you don't quite have the same feel that you have when you throw it often.
Rip took a fastball for a called strike. Palmeiro's at second, Baines is at first. 3-2 Orioles lead in the 8th. Roger Clemens. Seeing if he can cut it off right here. Orioles would love to add one or 2 here to cushion this lead for the bullpen. Three-one pitch. Fork ball fouled off by Ripken. Count runs full now. Strike 3. Went to the fastball and strikes Cal Ripken out. Cal not in agreement with home plate umpire Chuck Merriweather. That's 10 on the night for Roger Clemens.
Looks like a low borderline fastball. Questionable if it's high enough. Check out Rip's knees. Right on the edge of the bottom extreme of that strike zone.
Here's Geronimo Baroa. Clemens has come back after he looked like he was on the ropes here, Mike, in the top of the 8th. Threw 5 pitches, double and a 4-pitch walk. Palmeiro and Baines had 2 aboard and nobody out, then went down 2-0 on Surhoff.
He's made big pitches in this inning when he's had to.
Next pitch that Roger throws will be number 137 on the night. He's ahead of Baroa. O'Brien's throw back to second, not in time. Oh, they thought they had Rafael Palmeiro picked off. Snap throw from Charlie O'Brien.
Well, O'Brien's picked off 7 runners on the season. Watch how quickly O'Brien gets rid of it. Just pops and throws. And hitters get, or certainly base runners get different leads with 2 outs. Anytime you see a hitter move that bat at all, you take an extra step because you're trying to score.
He's ahead of Baroa. Now at 1-2. Roger Clemens trying to battle his way back, keep his ball club down 1. When you talk about team 22 games under 500, but the guy goes out to the mound knowing he's not going to get runs. You just can't afford to give up 3 or 4 normally. Slider miss. 2-2 on Baroa. How much more of a mental taxing does that put on you when you go out to the mound?
Oh, you know it. You know you can't afford to ever give up a big inning. You can't afford to have an inning where you give up 3 or 4 or 5 runs. You have no chance. You lose.
2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Roger Clemens came back to strike out the side. That's number 11 on the night. Clemens with a stare into the Orioles dugout. 3-2 Birds. All right, those fans, get ready to wear what the pros wear in October at postseason time with this official on-field turtleneck. Comes in both an adult and youth size. It's available right now. Order your turtleneck or merchandise catalog by calling the new Orioles merchandise hotline at 1-888-624-BIRD. Order during tonight's game. You're going to receive a free Orioles team photo magnet. Defensive changes for acting manager Rick Down after Davey Johnson was thrown out tonight. Jeffrey Hammonds take over in right field for Geronimo Baroa. Behind the plate, Lenny Webster will do the same for Chris Hoyles. And on the mound, Armando Benitez suffered the loss, giving up the home run last night to Bob Hamlin. Now on the mound to work against the top of the Jays lineup.
Yeah, first blown save of the year for Armando Benitez. You see the 9 saves. Now he's 9 out of 10. 103 strikeouts in 71 innings. Impressive.
Shannon Stewart looks at a slider for a called strike. Shannon Stewart, the big hit as far as the Jays are concerned tonight. His triple after a walk to Tomas Perez in the 6th. Scored Perez, and then Stewart scored on the Gonzalez sacrifice fly. The outside corner, Benitez quickly ahead of Shannon Stewart at 0-2. Orioles trying to close it down with a bullpen here in the 8th and 9th against Toronto. Slider slider is tapped foul by the plate.
A couple of shakes from Benitez. Originally fastball in, then fastball away, shook to the slider. Shannon Stewart just able to foul it off. Peering in, you could pitch along with Armando right there.
0-2 pitch. Did he go? Yeah, he did. Slider rings up. Shannon Stewart. Armando Benitez looking sharp to his first hitter here in the bottom of the 8th.
And hitters have to cheat to the fastball. Looks like a fastball. Just a little break on the end, enough to go down and off the outside part of the plate. Unable to hold that bat back. You see the head of the bat go right out towards Armando.
Where's Alex Gonzalez? Gonzalez with a RBI sacrifice fly his last time to bring this game to exactly where we stand at the moment. 3-2. 1-1 on Gonzalez. Benitez breaking out his version of the 4th ball.
Really, last year Armando basically a one-pitch pitcher. This year has added that slider with a little bit more consistency and also the forkball.
To the slider. Benitez is ahead of Gonzalez at 0-2.
Just because it's such a devastating pitcher when he's getting those other pitches over.
Ground ball hits slowly. Ripken will charge. Quick snap throw. Got Alex Gonzalez by a step. Nice play by Cal. Touched that glove and got rid of it basically in one motion.
It's a type of play where Cal won't even close that glove. You just leave it open and just make the transfer to your throwing hand. High chopper. Gonzalez gets out of the box well. See Cal just sort of pin it against the leather and then pull it out and make the throw. Watch the glove. He never closes. Stays wide open.
Bases empty. 2 out now here in the 8th with the dangerous Jose Cruz Jr. looking at a called strike. Benitez poured the fastball on the inside corner. Armando showing no ill effects of being greeted rudely by the Detroit Tigers last night. He's ahead of Cruz at 0-2.
Was that a terrific year, certainly on the road. There's a 1.24 ERA on the road in 36 innings. He's only allowed 5 earned runs.
1-2 on Jose Cruz. Cruz 0-2 tonight, drew a walk his last time.
At home, Armando's ERA is closer to 4, 3.89, 15 earned runs in 34 innings.
Swinging a miss. Threw that wicked slider right by Jose Cruz. That's a pretty dominant bottom of the 8th for Armando Benitez. 3-2 Orioles. Let's go to the 9th on O's TV. I want to congratulate Michelle Pitt. Michelle, no player hit for the cycle tonight, but you did win a Panasonic 27-inch stereo TV because you played in tonight's giant HTS Orioles $1 Million Magic. See if you could turn your field of dreams into a field of green by checking out the Orioles here on O's TV and an HTS, and see your local giant for details. Let's go to the 9th. Long night done pitch-wise for Roger Clemens. Struck out 11. Leaves losing Mike 3-2 for Paul Quantrill.
Yeah, one shy of 140 pitches for Roger Clemens. Gave up a lot of, well, all three runs by the 2nd inning. Handed over to Paul Quantrill, who's done a terrific job. The Canadian-born Quantrill from nearby London, Ontario.
And he's going to face Lenny Webster, Mike Bordick, and Brady Anderson. Ground ball to second base. Tomas Perez going to throw out Lenny Webster. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the Orioles 9th. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th for the Toronto Blue Jays. Joe Carter, Carlos Delgado, Juan Samuel. Any of them get aboard, it'll be Sean Green. So that's what Cito Gaston has in store in this 1-run game. The O's could make it a little bit easier if they could add something run-wise here in the ninth. And they've gone to the bottom of the ninth in Jacobs Field, so we'll keep tabs on that. Jeff Nelson is on. And a 9-8 Yankee lead over Cleveland. One-run games, both places. Slider for a called strike. Bordick's down 1-2. Mike's had 2 base hits tonight. He got 2 of the 8. He and Robbie Alomar have paced the offense. They have put together between them 4 of the 8 hits that the Orioles had off Roger Clemens. Fastball just missed. Clemens stands to be saddled with the loss here tonight unless the Jays rally, although he did strike out 11, as he now is the top strikeout pitcher in the American League. Full count pitch coming up from Quantrill to Mike Bordick. Followed off right side.
Well, Paul Quantrill on the mound has made 73 appearances, most ever in a single season by a Canadian pitcher. John Hiller, the former Detroit Tiger, had held a record way back in '73 and made 65 appearances.
Ground ball up the middle. Base hit Mike Bordick. Another 3-hit game for Mike Bordick. We told him earlier in the season, when you get that base hit the first time, it's always going to be a multi-hit game, Mike, and a lot of times a 3-hit game for Bordick.
It makes it look so easy. You see the smile on Mike Bordick's face. 3-2 fastball just gets by the glove of Quantrill and on this quick artificial surface easily in the center field.
There's Brady Anderson as the O's will go back to the top now. Brady started everything out tonight. Base hit to left field, came around to score. It's part of a 2-run first inning off Roger Clemens. That's, by the way, 3-hit game number 7 this year for Mike Bordick. Quantrill to Anderson. 2-0. Robbie Alomar will be next. Well,
that was on a 3-0 pitch on the last day of the season, leading off the game against the eventual Cy Young Award winner Pat Henkin. That Brady hit his 50th home run, breaking the Orioles all-time record set by Frank Robinson.
Drive down the line and left deep in the corner, but it's going to fade foul. Rick down probably on maybe the call from Davy Johnson somewhere down in the bowels of Sky Dome, giving Brady the green light. And if you're just joining us, Davy Johnson was tossed out by home plate umpire Chuck Merriweather. Anderson with a line drive deep center field. Shannon Stewart reaching up at the last moment to haul it in. Brady hit a rocket directly over the head of Shannon Stewart. Froze him for a moment, Mike, but he had the speed to get back, reach up and pull it in.
Well, the toughest play for any center fielder is turning the ball right at him or right over his head. Brady hits this one right on the butt in one hand. Cito Gaston making a trip to the mound. We look at that play one more time.
And Cito's going to take the baseball from Paul Quantrill. He's going to go work a left-hander against Robbie Alomar here in the top of the ninth. Come back and tell you more. 3-2. Orioles lead it on the Orioles TV network. We're in the top of the ninth. Orioles with Mike Bordick at first with 2 out. Birds lead at 3-2, and Dan Plesac has been asked by his manager Cito Gaston to come on in and try to get Robbie Alomar.
And he has done a nice job for Cito Gaston, and with this appearance he sets a new club record for the Blue Jays by a left-handed reliever, breaking the record set by Gary LaBelle back in 1985.
Berto 2 for 4 on the night as he fouls off Plesac's first fastball. Robbie bunt single, scored a run. And that bunt single pretty intriguing because it might have set up all of the knockdown pitches that follow the next couple of times from Roger Clemens with Alomar at the plate.
That cost Roger a couple of runs in the first.
Ground ball to the left of Tomas Perez from the outfield turf to throw out Roberto Alomar. Perez probably 10-12 feet on the outfield portion of the AstroTurf. Threw out Robbie, who hit it sharply, but that'll end the ninth. Orioles take a 3-2 lead to the bottom of the ninth. We'll be right back to Sky Dome.
WNUV's coverage of Orioles baseball has been brought to you by Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go places and do things you never thought possible. By Bell Atlantic 9X Mobile. A cell phone is only as good as the network it's on. By the University of Maryland Medical Center. By your Baltimore area Nissan store. Nissan, life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. By Heckinger. With the Project Rewards program, the more you buy, the more you'll save. By Hoover. Nobody gets the dirt like Hoover. Nobody. And by your local Oldsmobile retailers.
Don't go anywhere now. A little bit of drama here in the bottom of the ninth at Sky Dome. Michael Regai, Mike Flanagan. Hope you're enjoying. Randy Myers is on the scene trying to get this one closed down and pick up his 44th save in the process in a one-run lead.
Yeah, 2 and 3 on the year. The marvelous amount of saves, 43, 1.59 ERA. 56 and 2/3, 54 strikeouts, 22 walks. Earned his 43rd save and 44 opportunities September 18th versus Milwaukee. Only his third chance since August 23rd, and he has saved 32 straight. Third longest streak in Major League history behind Mesa and Eckersley.
It'll be Joe Carter. He'll lead it off against Randy Myers. Carter will turn and rip it foul on Myers' first pitch here in the bottom of the ninth. Randy has not had a heavy workload of late. Mike worked one time in a couple of weeks.
I think that's the thing with Davey Johnson. He's really handled Myers magnificently with all those saves. Able to keep Randy sharp even through long stretches of, I guess, feast or famine.
The changeup that missed. 1-1 on Carter. Joe Carter tonight's 0 for 3. Brady Anderson robbed him of a base hit back in the second inning with a sliding catch. Well, Myers trying to get it done yet one more time. 6th all time. Looking for his 318th career save. Of course, he racked up number 300 this year. Carter with a shot. Ripken will lay out. Cal's throw to first. Got it. Strong play by Cal Ripken. Took a base hit away from Joe Carter here to start the bottom of the ninth.
Joe Carter, who was had to leave yesterday's game with a bad hamstring, tries to get out of the box, but Cal guarding that line makes a nice play covering that hole. See Carter sort of skipping down the line. Watch Joe get out of the box. The important part of this play is Ripken gloving this ball, and then he has plenty of time to get Joe Carter. Great play to start the ninth and prevent the leadoff man from getting on in a one-run game.
Well, that'll bring up Carlos Delgado now against Myers. Delgado with a fly ball. Fairly deep right center field, but room for Jeffrey Hammonds to put it away. 2 down now. Here in the bottom of the ninth. And from Jacobs Field in Cleveland. Cleveland Indians have come all the way back. They were down 9-3 and have tied up the New York Yankees in the bottom of the ninth. 9-9. A win here will cut the magic number to 2. If Cleveland comes back to win, the magic number will be down to 1. Myers has to get Juan Samuel. Starts him out with a called strike. Big play from Cal Ripken.
And they still will guard both corners. Ripken on the line and Palmeiro.
is over in Jacobs Field. The Cleveland Indians, big rally tonight. They came all the way back and won it 10-9 over the New York Yankees. So right now the magic number is 2. And the lead's at 3.5. Swing and a miss. The magic number's down to 1 as you can book win number 95 for the Orioles. Save number 44 for Randy Myers. Almost simultaneously, a Cleveland Indian win in Jacobs Field in the comeback fashion. And Randy Myers' 44 save here tonight with strong defensive help from Cal Ripken at third base. 3-2. Orioles win it. Magic number now 1. We'll come right back and tell you more from Sky Dome in a moment on O's TV.
Would rival some of their previous outfield tandems. They've had some good ones. George Bell and Jesse Barfield, Lloyd Mosby come to mind.